Hey guys, I started up a company 7 years ago. I'm taking it to $150 million in sales in 2019. And as part of Dream Job, we've documented that. So if you haven't seen that, go watch Dream Job with Shawn Chartier. Now you guys, for an annual update, I've asked which questions do you have. Rather than answer them all over again, we're gonna take your questions and I'm gonna ask them of our new leaders that I've coached and mentored and let them answer them for you. So we're gonna start with Blair over at Branded Title, our newest company, and then I'll take you through and throw some of those questions at some of our top leaders. Let's go. The one thing I want you guys to key in on, almost all the questions are looking for the secret sauce, the secret formula, or the one thing, or the one how of doing everything. There is absolutely no such thing. I have not even interviewed these people. I'm shooting this before we go and interview them because that's how we do Dream Job. It's real time, real flow. I guarantee what you're gonna hear is there is no one way to market. There is no one social media platform that works. There is no one reason to jump and leave your corporate job or your day-to-day job and go and start your own business. There is no one way to be successful. It depends, it depends, it depends. However, if you listen to what we're saying and you watch what we're doing, I think you'll understand if you're the right person, if you're the type of person that should own and run a business, then you'll be able to use some of this advice, some of these ideas to go ahead and be successful or to make that jump as you go on into your career. But remember, not everybody's a number one. If you ever go watch Gary Vaynerchuk, he'll talk about some people are number twos, number threes. Some people are designed to have a vision and lead a huge group of people to massive success. Some people are designed to be that vice president or that person that stands side by side with the person with the vision and helps implement that vision, make it happen. And I think you have to understand who you are. Are you that number one person, or are you a better co-pilot, or are you a better team member? And that's where everybody's got to come to grips with who are you and what are you capable of. Because I can want to be a basketball player and jump and dunk at 10-foot heights, but I can't jump. I think my leap is about 3 to 4 inches I can get off the ground, and I'll probably get hurt if I try it, so I'm not going to show you that. But you can't just want it, you have to also have it and be able to develop the skills. So let's jump right into it. We're gonna go interview Blair. He's our newest manager of our newest adventure, which is Branded Title Co. If you haven't checked him out on YouTube, where we're buying smashed up supercars and sometimes trucks and sometimes Grand Marquis and lifting them. But let's go see what he's up to and see what he thinks about the questions you guys have for him. So who are you? How long have you been here? And what is your current title?
I'm Blair. I'm lead of Branded Title. I'm coming up in 90 days.
90 days?
Yeah.
That's great.
I think that's like in a week.
Cool.
Loving it so far.
So what is your, you told us a title. What do you basically do? What does that mean, you're the lead of Branded Title?
We ask ourselves the same thing.
What do you do here?
A little bit of everything. I try to keep the boys on track, keep our builds on track, try to maintain a budget, organize our projects, order all the parts, source our parts, pretty much anything and everything that needs to be done. If I can help those guys, I'll step in where needed.
Sounds like you do everything. So what's the difference between this and if you'd have just started this on your own?
If I did this on my own, I would have just done one car.
So just the speed?
Yeah, well, I mean, I got brought into a middle of a shitstorm, basically. Yeah. 7 cars totally ripped apart, trying to figure out where every build was at.
I guess from a business standpoint, what's the difference between what you're doing, what you're asked to do,
the scale of it,
and if you were totally on your own?
I was told about the scale of everything, the cost of the vehicles. You guys kind of jumped off into the deep end right away, where I would have started at the bottom and worked my way up to the top.
So would you say that having that investment money of $500,000 hurt the channel more than it helped?
Yes, because it makes it feel like you can do anything you want, and you can buy anything you want, and money's not an object, and instead of being patient and looking for the right deal, you just buy.
Yeah.
Immediately buy all new parts from the dealer instead of trying to find them used.
Yeah. So I think you basically lose that hustle, that grind, and you just pay your way through But
Right.
what happens? You run out of money in like 90 days.
It goes fast. It goes
Yeah.
very fast, especially when you start off with very expensive cars like this. You don't think that a bumper cover, a taillight, a headlight is going to cost
$3,600 per.
almost $10,000 just for a couple of odds and ends.
That's cool. I think that's good insight that people that go and look for investors think that that will speed them up.
No.
I honestly think it hurt branded title severely.
Yes.
I really, really do.
Branded title should have been on a shoestring budget from the beginning and started with, I probably wouldn't even gone ZL1 Camaro.
No, you should have been building lifted Grand Marquis for $2,000.
A Silverado, you know, just daily stuff. And if Branded Title could have made more partnership with the rest of the EE, and maybe like, what do you guys want? You know, who's looking for a vehicle? What can we build for you guys to kind of get the ball rolling?
The trouble is, the concept we thought was, if you bought supercars, it would immediately go from 0 subscribers to 100,000 overnight. So you could buy the subscribers.
Right.
How'd that go?
Everyone wants to see the budget stuff.
Yeah. The problem is we were the last ones to show up to that party.
Right.
I think a year or two ago, that could have been true. I have no idea. You never know. But it didn't work.
Right.
It was a total waste of $500,000. The good news is we have the assets.
Yeah,
so once we sell them, we can recover the money and go back to plan A, which is I think what you've done since you got here. You're like, okay, let's get these done, get these sold, and let's go back to plan A. Grassroots.
Right.
Take your $500,000 back and let's make this happen on a shoestring budget and act like we need to scrape by.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. I totally agree. Cool. So you're super unique because you wanted to come to branded title. However, we had already hired a lead guy and a mechanic. You were like literally 3 days behind us saying yes to those guys.
Right.
And you still said, which was interesting because I contacted you probably 2 months later.
Yeah.
And you said, yeah, don't worry, I can start Monday. I quit my job just in case you called. I'm like, who does that? So you're the guy that didn't just convince himself to take the leap. You literally took the leap before there was even the opportunity. Why would you do that?
It was kind of when I heard about the opportunity, I had been at my prior job for 10 years, and it was kind of like everybody else. You know, when you hear them talk about their job and why they left, it's the daily grind, it's the repetitiveness, and like the need for change. I was like, you know what? This is what I need change. I'm ready for change. And I said, if Shawn happens to call me in a couple months, I want to be ready for this. And luckily, I have a spouse who supports my decisions, and we were in a position where I could do it. I kind of remember when you were talking about leaving your job, when you had a big paying job. You're like, oh, this isn't for me. What do I need to do to walk away from this? Pay off some debts, get rid of some of those hurdles that would prevent you from walking away. So I did kind of the same thing.
Okay. You had cleared out the big debts.
Well, leading up to that moment, earlier in the year, I was mentally getting myself prepared to do this. So that's what I started doing as well.
What are some of those things?
I mean, for a lot of people, it's credit card debts.
Yep.
It's unnecessary car payments. Maybe other people, they have a house that they really don't need and should scale back. For me, fortunately, I kind of leapfrogged my way up to where I am now, buying and selling cars, flipping houses, stuff like that. So I was in a better position than some other people are. But
yeah, for me, it was getting used to living off of $50,000 a year income.
Right.
So going from my $180,000 a year lifestyle to $50,000, it was that mindset that I'm ready to live like that for 3 years, if that's what it takes to start getting some momentum.
Yeah.
Did you do similar things to that, or did you not have to go to that extreme?
I didn't really have to go to that extreme, but it's more like, we never really had a budget in our household. It's like, well, why don't we have a budget? Why are we just spending money just because? And, I drove a new truck, and I was like, do I need a new truck for what I do? Like, no, I don't need a new truck. I'm like, let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
I personally don't really care. I like to buy and sell things anyway.
So did you get rid of your truck?
I did, Yeah, you look at what's really important, and for me, it was happiness and not a nice truck.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get a nice truck another day. I'll buy a wrecked truck later when the time's right, and I'll fix one myself for, a fraction of what I paid for the one I was driving.
Isn't it crazy how short-term those material trophies last?
Yes.
Every time I buy a vehicle, I'm over it in 30 days.
Right.
Totally over it.
Right.
And I'm like, dang, I thought a Lambo would last at least a year. Nope.
Right.
No matter how much you spend, the trophies just die so fast. Right. If you're not happy,
exactly.
They die even faster.
Right.
So is it going exactly as expected when you decided to walk away from that job and then I called you and you came on over?
Yes and no. The general concept is what I thought it would be. The filming schedule is what really threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
The hurry up and wait, 4 or 5 hours for the previous day video edit to get complete before I can start working on something else, because we can't be pulling our video guy away from his job to start something else. And it's like, it's frustrating because a lot of people are like, why aren't you getting cars done? Why are you getting cars done? It's like, well, we're not working on this car for 8-10 hours a day. It's like 4.
Yeah.
And then you run into, oh, this is broken, that needs to be ordered. Scenarios like that, and then it's like, okay, you lost 3 days or you lost a week.
Yeah.
It's a lot of little things, especially when we're working on cars that none of us have ever put our hands on. So it's a learning experience every time we dive into one.
I think I've heard you say the biggest challenge is it seems like walking into something already started is easily the biggest challenge. And the other one is spending so much money and putting so much pressure then on the startup. What are the biggest wins so far? You're coming up on day 90. What would you say are the biggest wins? And I'm talking, high level, from when you left that day-to-day 10-year job to doing something like this.
As far as wins for me, I guess just being happier. And even my wife has said she can tell, my attitude that I'm happier. I don't come home, I'm not stressed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wake up in the morning and I don't want to go to work.
Yeah. I call those the Sunday night blues.
Right.
I've said if you dread, or Sunday night dreads, if you Sunday night you have dread in your heart and in your stomach about your job, you have to do something.
Right.
You can't live your entire life like that.
Right.
That's so inappropriate. Like, why would anybody do that? And I did that for 11 years. And it wasn't every Sunday, but it was at least once a month. And no matter what career or what job I had that. I have never, ever, ever, ever had that here in 5 years.
Yeah. So I guess that for me, that would be a win.
Yeah.
Is looking forward to the next day, not going home stressed, not bringing my work home with me. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
90% of the time, it's very enjoyable.
So have you implemented all that stuff here that you were telling your old boss they should implement that we were doing in Dream Job?
I try to as much as I can. It still feels like we're playing catch up, trying to get all these cars done and get back to that fresh start.
Did you know we didn't implement that for 2.5 years here? Because you can't. When it's chaotic, when it's not structure yet, when you don't even know, you guys don't even know what you stand for yet. If you were to implement all that structure, you would just be getting really good at doing the wrong thing.
Right.
So I can't help you guys until you find where you settle in.
Right.
Then I can come in and start teaching you guys the structure and the discipline stuff. Because otherwise, you're just going to be really good at creating something you don't want to create or your viewers don't want to watch. So there's no point until you settle in. And that's why there's nothing I can do in the startup. And that's why I asked, is this any different than if you were doing it on your own? I think other than the cash injection and which vehicles you're working on, I don't see any difference. Like, I can't help you. You have to do it on your own. Like, just got to figure it out. Because I can't leapfrog you guys. My knowledge in how I would do it is no more helpful than the $500,000. Because you have to figure it out. I've never done this before.
Right.
I can't figure it out any faster than you can. It's simple, but it's not easy. Like, you know exactly what to do,
right,
but nobody will let you do it. Like, your suppliers won't let you do it, your partners won't let you do it, the filming schedule won't let you do it, people being out sick won't let you do it. Like, you know what to do, but it's so hard to actually do it consistently and structured. So is this your dream job?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean...
Already? Or are you on the path to your dream job?
That's tricky. What is really your dream job? If you're truly happy about what you're doing and look forward to coming in every day, I would say that you are in your dream job, even though maybe it's not like my true dream job long term. But I mean, if you're happy, I mean, why wouldn't that be your dream job? Not to say that your dreams can't change.
What do you think are the biggest things you need to do to make this your long-term dream job? Or do you have a different long-term dream job altogether?
If we could figure out what it's going to take to make this a viable business, and that's what we've been talking about every single day, is like, what does it take to not only pay our overhead, but actually make a profit to do this long term? That's the hardest part, and a lot of it has to do with, like our physical location. Trying to deal with these kinds of cars in Appleton, Wisconsin is not easy for multiple reasons. And it's like, do we want to dive off into a different venture and have it fail just as bad as we're currently failing, and then disappoint everybody again? It's like, what can we do that's fairly inexpensive, but that can actually make a profit quickly to prove to you that this business model makes sense to expand?
And I see this with a ton of people that are asking questions. They have not thought through or haven't been able to dabble and find out, is your business idea actually a viable business? Like, we were able to jump in because you guys have financial backing. If you guys were on your own, you'd all be starving to death right now. It would have been a horrible decision. Your families would be in distress because you wouldn't be paying bills. We're making $200 a month and spending $16,000 a month. So there's so many people that just want to jump in. They're like, I already have the idea. I've got 3 buddies. They all want to do it. I just got to suck it up and go. No, you need to make sure it's a viable business idea. Like, I would have never done this if I wasn't willing to risk the money and have the money and capability to risk it. There's no way I would have done this. And I wouldn't have had you guys do this if we didn't have a backup plan for what you can do within the company if this doesn't work out.
Right.
So I think I want people to understand this is a perfect example of what you should never ever do if you're all in and this is all you've got. Because I have so many people keep asking or saying they're going to start something like this. Same with an off-road shop. Everybody says they want to start one. I haven't made money in 6 years in my off-road shop.
Yeah.
I lose $5,000 to $15,000 every year. But they want to start one, and I'm like, please don't. It's a horrible idea. The economics of it aren't there. You have to have a supplement income, whether you're flipping vehicles or a YouTube channel or something, because just being paid to bolt stuff on, the profit isn't there. No. It's been skinnied down by every guy in his garage. So.
Right.
Very cool. Appreciate it. I'd shake your hand, but you're sick, and I'm not hanging out with that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Who are you? And how long have you been here, and what's your title?
My name is Alex. Been here 2.5 years now. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for the Enthusiast Enterprises.
So what the heck do you do?
So I think the main portion of my job is pushing each of our divisions forward towards different types of targets and goals, and establishing businesses, and essentially taking all the crazy ideas that we have on a daily basis and turning it into an actual thing. And then putting a team behind it, and finding those passionate people that enjoy whatever it is that we're starting up or trying to do, and giving them all the resources they need to go out there and make it happen.
How many brands are you doing that for right now?
Currently, we've launched in 2019 2 major brands that come to mind, and then in 2020 we'll be doing that with 2 new brands. There have been some...
No, how many total brands are you doing all the things you just said?
Total brands would be, I think, right about 9 right now, I want to say. And then in 2020, we'll be increasing that to 11. So in 2020, we'll have 11 brands.
So you could say things are getting pretty serious.
Very fun.
So what things should you key in on when you're trying to grow a business? And where should you put your investment to grow a business?
I think you should put your investment in the short term into the idea that you're trying to accomplish. So all of your time should be at the beginning of when you're starting up a business about the idea. So every angle you can think about that could make that idea successful, that could make that idea fail, that could essentially be a threat to it or an opportunity. I think a lot of the startup needs to be all about trying to bring that idea and turning it into something that's tactical. At the same time, that's not how you should always think forever. I think that there comes a time in any startup or in any business where you need to start taking away all of the effort of the idea and start putting the effort into the people that are going to run that business.
Why do you keep saying the idea as if there's one idea?
Because I think that when you're looking, there's always a ton of ideas out there, right? Mm-hmm. But I've always believed that for you to do something extremely well and to really launch it off the ground the right way, you have to have a singular focus.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say the F word. Yep.
And if you don't, a lot of times it's just impossible to keep track of everything. Yep. And it becomes very difficult, which is where people start to play effect. Because if you can't have that singular focus, you need to get a team or a group of people that can have a singular focus on that thing, so you can go focus on Y thing.
Would you agree that most startups or small businesses you watch fail are trying to do 15 ideas at once right off the bat?
Yeah.
Because why do you think they do that? Why do they go to the next idea when...
Because I think it's the same thing as when people say that they're going to start working out at the beginning of the new year, right? It has all of the pros that you could possibly imagine. You get healthier, you look better. Mm-hmm. It's something that everybody applauses you for. But at the end of the day, going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning fucking sucks. Mm-hmm. And waking up and being sweaty, that sucks. There's a lot of things that are hard to do to get over. So then you start a diet
instead.
So then you go do something else.
The heck with working out, let's do a diet. That'll be easy. Yeah.
And then after that, it's not the diet, it's just, I'm just going to eat less.
Less carbs, maybe.
But
maybe
then you don't,
just cut out carbs.
But then you don't set up any sort of targets. You don't set up any sort of structure or discipline. And a lot of it is what...
Well, I ate carbs today. Maybe I'll just go for a walk.
Yeah. People lack the structure and discipline, I think, is the number one thing. And a lot of times people don't like to say that they've lost, because, who likes to say that they've lost? But a lot of startups and ideas, you do lose. And whether you're willing to own that or not is the difference as to when you can move on from one idea to the next, in my opinion.
How do you create formulas that constantly bring sales results?
I think it's a combination of two things. When you're in a new startup or you're in a new business space, it's a lot of testing. It's a lot of trial and error.
They just want the formula to constantly bring sales.
I think if there was a constant formula, I think it comes down to waking up every day, focusing hard on that one idea every day, not accepting failure every day, and going at it until you see the results that you want. Now,
no, they want the formula. So the next part of the question is, where's the best place to advertise? So what they want to know is, where should they put their $100 and how should they do it?
Yeah.
That's all they want to know.
I wish it was that easy. It's not.
Yeah.
The true answer is, when you come up with an idea, what problem are you trying to solve? Mm-hmm. Because when you figure out what problem you're trying to solve, whose problem are you trying to solve? And
where are they?
And once you get to the who, then you get to the where.
Yep.
So whose problem are you trying to solve could be the difference about you throwing $100 at a TV ad versus you throwing $100 on Instagram.
Yep.
Because those are two very different groups of people. But there's two very different groups of people on Facebook. You have your grandma Sandy that's making Facebook posts.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
And
that
then
ad goes at 1 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right between Days of Our Lives and whatever other soap operas are still alive.
Because that's how Facebook is. I mean, you could spend all of your money just in Facebook and hit 1,000 different types of people, millions of different types of people. So you have to know who you're going for. You can't just, there's no one end all.
So you're not going to tell them what the formula is or the place to advertise. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Sorry.
So you came on board at the time we were just launching Fitment Industries. You took and ran with that. You had the singular focus. The question they have now is, with 9 brands, how have you diversified? How did you choose where you were going to diversify? And then how did you execute that? Because you said in your last answer to focus. We've obviously gotten away from focus because now we're into the longer term game to 9 companies. How did you decide where to diversify, and then how did you execute that growth plan?
I think, So
now contradict everything you said in your first answer.
The hardest thing to do is understand that you can't do it all. when you start getting bigger and when you start having more than one idea. Because when you have one idea, it's so much easier and you can crush it. When you have 6 and you try to execute 6 and you think you can win at all 6, it gets very hard. That's where I think, and this is where my blue comes out, the involvement of people and getting those people ready and prepared to take on the ideas that you have, and given the teaching and the skills and the management systems that they need to thrive is the difference. So I used to have an old mentor that would tell me, Alex, it's all about putting your aces in your places. You know, you find the ace in that market.
Was this an actual old person, or was this just in the past?
Yeah, no, this was an actual.
So you're actually referring to his age when you call him your old mentor.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. They used to say, get your aces.
Was he about my age?
Less hair. Get your aces in your places, because a lot of times if you can make your team smarter than you, you've already succeeded. And that's all that you have to do. And you always have to keep looking at talent and people out there. You know, people always have to have the mentality that you're always hiring, that you're always networking, and that you're always trying to find the next best person.
Here's what I just heard you say. I heard you say, when it's just you, you need to focus, because you can't do it all. When you are ready to diversify, you need to hire a team and put the right people in the right place. Now you're ready to spread.
Yeah. Because I'm sure when you wanted to start custom offsets, you wish you didn't have to make graphics in PowerPoint. But you did because you were the person.
And I screwed up. I tried to do air intakes and programmers and all these things, and it was a total flop.
Yeah.
I needed to get back to focus. And a bunch of times I've had to come back to focus.
The biggest failure that people think is they believe pivoting is the same thing as having multiple ideas.
Yeah.
And it's not. Those are two very different things. And that's where a lot of people make the mistake. They think they're pivoting their business because they want to get bigger.
Yeah.
They're not. They're just chasing a shiny object, or they're getting another, idea. So that's tough.
Last question. Are you in your dream job?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I get to wake up every morning and I'm salaried, and I work more now than I ever have when I was hourly. I love what I do.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, well, it's not. I think the toughest thing that a lot of people will always reference back to money, because money's awesome. I want more money every single day.
You do make a lot of money.
I make a good chunk of change, but I worked for that.
Overpaid?
And no, wrong, because I have to put up with you.
All right.
But I will say that it's not, money is not what gets me up in the morning, and it's not what makes me rest at night. I think what allows me to do those things and to put in the hours is looking at what you're creating and having control over that, and allowing to see people grow with that same mentality and that idea of wanting to be successful. And when you have the power to be successful or not be successful, it's super scary, but it's super empowering. And that's what makes it so much fun, is you get to choose where you want to go. You get to choose your lifestyle. You get to choose the decisions that you make. There's not somebody that's telling you how you need to be.
Yeah.
You are the one that's responsible for that. And if you're prepared for that amount of independence, this is your dream job. But if you're not prepared for that amount of independence, you will fail.
So if you're in your dream job, is this it? Is this where you stop?
No, absolutely not. I think
this
that
is your dream job.
Well, the dream job changes all the time, right?
Oh.
Your dream job of today is different than your dream job of 5 years from now, right? We never know where we're going. But what we do know is that there's opportunities in front of us. It's up to us on whether we want to take them or not. Yeah. I will say that the reason that I'm sitting here and doing what I do is because I took the opportunities in front of me, and I took those risks, and I failed and I've succeeded, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
So how old are you?
25.
And you're a 6-figure VP?
Yeah.
Are you starting, or are you getting close to the end?
Just starting. I think it doesn't matter how old you are, because I would say that you're just starting when you're jumping into new things. Yeah. There's no.
Is that another age reference?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no experience cap to being an entrepreneur. There is only how hard are you willing to work and how much time are you willing to put in for that next idea. And if it's worth it to you, you'll make it happen. Or you can sit on Facebook and complain all day. You can do that too. It's up to you.
So who are you? How long have you been here, and what's your current title?
My name's Kirk. I've been here full-time since May of 2016, but actually started back in 2014 when I told you I'd work for you for free and you thought I was crazy. I currently am Customer Service and Operations Manager for Appleton location. And did I miss any other questions there?
Nope. Okay. So what the heck does that mean you actually do?
So I started with operations by managing... Currently?
Yep.
Currently, I am focusing on customer service, so getting calls answered, emails answered, working through customer problems, resolutions, making sure that they get the correct product if they do have a problem. I manage the team that does
There
do
you
that.
go.
So I
How
manage.
big of a team?
Currently, our phone team, our service team is 15 strong. Our sales team is 7 now, and our email team is approximately 30 to 50.
Very cool.
Very large.
You already mentioned it, and it's always my favorite topic with you. Why in the heck did you offer to work for free?
Yeah, my mom asked me the same question when I started. In college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I went for marketing and management, and I just had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I knew I had a passion for the aftermarket automotive industry, specifically in trucks back in the day. And I somehow found out about you on social media. You commented on an Instagram post.
You to add your
Yeah.
truck to the gallery.
You told me to add my truck to the gallery, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Found out about Team Stance, found out that you're from Appleton. I believe I just asked you if you wanted to go to a truck show in Oshkosh. You told me what you're all about, and I'm like, cool, I'm all in. And that day I just decided that this is what I was going to do. And that junior year of college, I told you I would work for free. And then you gave me a bunch of job duties. John called me the next day, gave
Where
me
did
that.
you get that idea? Because I know Gary Vee is a huge proponent of go offer somebody to work for free and show them what your value is and they'll hire you, or at least you'll learn.
Yeah.
Like you came up with that way before he was even a thing. Where did you hear that somewhere, see that somewhere?
I guess it was just your story. Your idea was, I just envisioned something happening.
Yeah, I'm saying, where did you get your idea to say, hey, I'll work for free? Like, that's not normal. People don't do that.
That's a good question. I guess I've never thought about that. I guess I could probably say my parents just told me that if I found something I liked, just do it.
Okay.
And from that point, I knew I liked it, and I knew I needed to
These are
get
the
my
same
foot in the door.
parents that said, why are you working for
My
free?
mom.
Okay.
My mom was a little concerned because obviously 4 years of college just going into work for free and then
Yeah.
not the best idea, but my dad said just go for it.
Yeah.
But they always told me to follow what I love and follow what I dream of doing. And the moment you told me about what custom offsets was and what you envisioned, I said, that's it. I just had to be a part of that.
And at the time, it was almost nothing. I don't think I had sold a T-shirt. I'd given away probably 2 stickers.
So. Yeah.
I don't think we had any sales. 'Cause I had the Avalanche, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you did.
If there was any, it wasn't much.
Yeah, no. It was like this is a hope and dream that this company will get anywhere.
You could only see the vision. There was nothing for you to see in person.
Absolutely.
I think you came to my house then, and I gave you a hat out of one of the boxes in my bedroom, and it was like one of those.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to buy a CD out of my trunk?
And going back to my parents and telling them that I was gonna work for free for this company with, I think you had a website at the time, but it was very minimal, no sales history, nothing to tell them that you're gonna succeed. I'm like, I just have a good feeling, and my mom's like, what?
Yeah, that's very strange and intuitive of you. So talk about what it's like to go from working for free with a couple of us. You know, the first shows was me, you, John, Ben, and Emily.
Yep.
Like that was the whole team, and none of us were getting paid ever for years. It's a 250 employee company with 9 brands and divisions in 3 states.
So it's mind-boggling. So every time you give us a new target for next year, I say in my head, I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No way that we're going to do that. And every year, like we're growing 50 to 80%. I'm like, no way. I can't I can't comprehend the vision that you have. So when I first started, I saw that there was potential in the company being made.
Yep.
I've never looked into financials of a company, how growth works, and once you hit 100 million, how that multiplies 50%, and then the next year over year. So every year when you show us the sales targets and how many employees we're going to have, I'm like, bullshit.
Yeah.
And then every year I get kicked in the nuts because I don't have a big enough team. And I'm like, you told me, but it's hard to comprehend how that's even possible. But it's wild. It's an amazing ride, and I would never want to be in a normal company that doesn't grow this fast.
In getting to be one of those first people and knowing what it was like when it was a couple of us, and knowing what it was like to kind of lock the door at the shop and go for lunch and come back 2-3 hours later after a beer and a burger.
Yeah.
And we had no stress. Nobody relied on us. We had no employees. None of that existed. What would you say have been the biggest employee challenges now with 250 compared to those days? Like, what have been the biggest employee challenges is one of the questions folks have asked.
I think the biggest growing pain for employees is the whole negativity of it's getting corporate. because we stood behind not being corporate so much, but unfortunately with massive growth, you have to.
Yeah.
And that's not to hurt employees, it's just to keep everything safe, keep everybody safe, the company safe. And it's, in my opinion, I'm fine with it because I understand it. But I know a couple of the OGs struggle with understanding that it's not to hurt anyone, it's just you have to with growth.
It's to protect us and them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand the business side of it.
Yeah.
But besides that, the only other thing is that I'm not understanding who everyone is. You walk through and you're like, I don't know who the hell that guy is.
Yeah.
I don't know who this new guy is, and that's weird because we are a very tight family, so we want to know everyone. But when you're growing at this rate, you can't.
Yeah. We hire a new employee every week.
Yeah.
We have 50 new employees a year right now, so that's one every single week.
Yeah.
So if we miss a week, there's 2 new ones on Monday.
Yeah, where back in the day, you used to be friends with them. You'd have a beer with them every single night.
Well, we only hired our friends and family,
Yeah.
right? The first 15 to 20 of us knew each other
Yep.
from somewhere. We were either at truck shows or car shows or friends of friends.
Yeah.
There was no strangers allowed. We were a very closed campus. So with that, have there been any employee challenges that have caused us along the way to pivot or change our path or change our course because of the employee challenges?
Yes. The first thing that comes to mind is we're too family-friendly focused. I know that we have kept some employees for longer than we should have because we wanted to like them too much.
Yeah.
We were not corporate enough where we were like, everyone can fit in. We can mold
Yeah.
anyone. And I feel that a couple of those actually hurt us very badly
Yeah.
because it brought down culture, the efficiency, the workflow. Whereas if we were more corporate, we would have been like, you're not hitting your metrics. I'm sorry, this isn't working. Let's part ways. So
Yeah.
if that's
I think
what you're
we
looking
once
for,
believed everybody can succeed here.
yes.
And we're learning now that this isn't for everyone. Not only is the culture not the right fit because they don't have that positive, upbeat family feeling, they
Yep.
just want to come to work and be left alone, which doesn't work here.
Yeah.
You're not going to get left alone. You have to hang out with us and play soccer with us. And I would agree with that. Do you think there were any major course changes because of employees?
I think that goes both ways. I don't think I can say yes or no either way. I mean, we've had some employees that came in and did change the company for better,
Yeah.
but we've also had some that caused us to get more policies and get more strict and get that more corporate because...
What would be an example of each, without names?
Yeah.
What were some things that people brought to us that were really positive and helped us change our course? And then the opposite.
I feel like some employees have brought a lot of standards and procedures in that helped us all work more efficiently. And by doing so, that just made everyone happier and it's enjoyable workplace because we weren't so stressed all the time.
Yeah.
For example,
Because chaos is stressful, right?
Yeah.
So I think when people hear that, they're like, wow, so the guy's more efficient, more happy. No, that's not how life
Yeah.
works. It is. Because when you have structure and discipline, you can relax.
Yeah.
When you have chaos, it's constant frustration because there's not a single path. We
Yep.
don't know where we're going. Yeah.
Exactly. We're on the
So
counter
what's an
side.
example of the opposite?
Counter side of that is, I don't want to say taking advantage of the system, but taking advantage, it is. I guess there's no happy
But
sugarcoating.
not that opposite. I think everybody understands one can ruin it for the all, and then we
Okay.
have to have a rule. When have we stuck with the company or our culture and said, no, the employees are going to have to change, or the new employees, the new people to the team, or an existing person needs to assimilate to the culture?
I would say that's the negativity thing. So we absolutely do not allow negativity,
Yeah.
and negativity is one way to walk yourself out this door. So if someone is very negative and doesn't have a happy vibe here, we do not allow that. And I feel like that is a great thing to have at any company,
Yeah.
because it's literally one bad egg can ruin it for everyone and bring down the entire mood just because one person is negative. So that's one thing that I love that we've kept, is we just continue to keep that culture alive and pushing it on new employees if by chance they are negative.
Yeah. Are you currently in your dream job?
Yes, however, I'm always wanting more.
So that's a no. What is your dream job, and what do you need to do to get there?
So we've had this conversation before. So my dream job is always more.
Yep.
I don't think I'll ever just be content.
Yeah.
So that's why, yes, it absolutely is my dream job. I would know there's no other company I'd rather be in. There's no other place I would like to be. So hear me say that, yes, this is my dream job. However, people like you and I just want more.
Yeah. It's not the dream position yet.
Yeah.
Your dream position is the next one.
Correct.
Yeah.
So every time I get my next promotion, it's like, okay, cool, that was awesome. Next. What do I have to do?
So at a high level for these guys that are either looking to advance themselves in their current job or quit their job and start their own business, what at a high level are you going to do in the next few years to get to that next level? Like, what advice do you have for them, or what things have you learned work in order, because you've gone from answering the phones to running the entire multi-dozen person team. What allows you to do that and will allow you to continue to do that?
The biggest thing is you must have a mentor. You cannot do it by yourself. You cannot wing it, especially in a company of this size. You just can't. It's impossible to grow as fast as we grow and by winging it. So I think a mentor is super important, someone that you can look up to and follow. And you must have personal drive. If you don't want it, you will never get it.
Yeah, you should stop if you're good, right?
If you're happy,
don't
stop
get pushed
going.
by money, or don't get pushed by, be pushed by here.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's how you are, is like your push is purely heart driven. I think it was a little money driven early on, but now once you guys start hitting the 6-figure mark, it's either here or it's not going to continue.
Yeah.
Because you now have enough money to buy how many, what do you have, like 42 cars?
Give or take.
So I think then it becomes in the heart.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it for that portion.
You're damn right that's it. Interview over.
Wow.
So who are you? How long have you been here? And what is your current title?
My name is Mandy, and I've been here since October of 2015, so 4 years.
4.5 years?
Almost going on 4.5. And my current title is HR Manager, Payroll and Benefits.
So what the heck does that mean you do?
Whatever Shawn doesn't want to do.
There's lots of people that have that title.
I know. That's how it started. So I take care of new employees coming in. I take care of benefits, making sure that they're being paid.
Yeah.
Run payroll, make sure that employees get paid. That's kind of a big deal and very important. And I still dabble in a couple other things.
Well, you pay bills,
Yeah.
do handbooks,
Yeah. So
you deal with emotions
sometimes.
at least 3-4 times a day from what I've seen.
It depends on my mood.
You're the mom of the group, right?
Yes.
Yep. So mom / HR / all things. So here come the questions.
Oh boy.
I know you from a previous life. We worked together. You were an executive secretary, did nothing with HR or payroll or human resources or any of the above. Yet you and I stayed connected, just had lunch once in a while. And all of a sudden I needed help, said, hey, you should quit your job of 15 years and come work for my small business, which may not succeed. And I've not hired any employees, and I want you to run all of HR and figure out how to hire employees and do payroll and all that stuff. Why in the world would you do that? Why would you leave the security of 15 years and take that huge gamble? Because everyone keeps asking, how do you know when to jump? Is like their favorite question. You didn't give it a ton of thought.
No, I really didn't. I think you have always inspired me. And I always like to learn new things. And the HR world and benefits and payroll is a very scary world, but I've been able to learn a lot of things. I like to research. I like to go to seminars.
But Mandy, you have a husband, you have a child, you had a career of 15 years, and you just quit and walked into an old pizza shop we were renting and started selling wheels on the internet with me.
Because I was bored.
Yeah.
I was comfortable where I was at, but yet I needed a different spark. I needed something else to do, and why not?
Because you liked your job, right?
Oh, absolutely. I loved it.
A lot of people talk about the Sunday night dreads. I don't think you ever had that on any of your jobs.
No. When I was in the corporate world, I did a lot of different things. So for me, I mean, my job evolved a lot in the 15 years that I was there. So I just like to learn new things and do new things. And it was a discussion with my husband, and it was.
So it got a little
why not?
boring, so you quit it all and just risked everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty crazy.
But worth it.
And that's the part, right? What did you have to lose?
Well, exactly. I could probably
if this
go
wouldn't
find an
have worked?
executive secretary job anywhere. I probably could have gone back
Yeah.
to where I was.
And I think that's the part that's why I did it. What do I have to lose?
Yeah.
If I stayed, I had myself to lose because I was bored. If I went, I could just go back to a boring job. So it didn't feel like you're making it sound like it wasn't that big of a deal. And I kind of felt the same way. It was a bigger deal if I didn't.
I think so, because what would I have missed out on?
Yeah.
I would have been watching everything grow, and that could have been me.
Yeah. Which is exactly what I said. I love it. So what would you say to all the people? There's so many people that aren't taking the jump. Like, if you were to say one sentence or two sentences to them,
Oh boy.
in Mandy's words, I mean, what would you say to the Mandy that doesn't take that chance?
I guess I would say, what are you waiting for? The grass may not always be greener, but at least there's an experience. It's a life-changing, altering event, but you only have one. So
Yeah. You have nothing to lose. I heard you say it earlier.
nothing to lose.
Go get another boring job if that really
Go back
sweet
to
one
corporate
doesn't
if
work
that's
out. Yeah.
what works.
I didn't know what you were going to say to that. I like that.
I didn't know what I was going to say to that either.
How does the small business world compare to the corporate world?
Well, the rules are completely different. And the small business world, you have to really know your stuff. That's why I wore so many hats when I first started. And
Still today.
And still today. But at least I'm starting to gear more towards one area versus having so many hats. And I can focus on that, but just the logistics of everything to know.
What did you do here when you started?
What didn't I do here when I started?
Literally everything, right?
Yeah,
There
sales
is
and
nobody
use
to get a
tax.
report from. There is nobody to
No, I
tell
had to
you what to
create all the
do.
reports
Yeah.
or learn QuickBooks, learn what a small business was. A lot of research, a lot of reading. I mean, it was.
Was it ever too much?
I don't think so. I mean, in the hindsight,
Maybe just for a second?
well, there are times, of course, but I mean, overall, I wouldn't have evolved to where I am now had I not gone through all that little stuff. It's hard to remember all the little stuff compared to where we are now and what we've done in the past and what I've done in the past 4.5 years.
Yeah, the amount of learning for all of us have been intense. And that's one of my favorite questions I picked for you is almost everything you know now that you didn't know when you started here is self-taught. How do you find the drive and the energy and the desire, mainly the drive, to keep learning like that? Like you could have just stayed an executive assistant and not had to learn human resources and payroll law. You wouldn't have had to learn benefits and benefit laws and all this stuff.
But I wouldn't be having as much fun.
Why is that fun?
Because my brain is just thirsty for more knowledge and to learn things and to do new things and to be a part of something that is just incredibly fun and new and different. And I mean, it's just.
Did you learn that or were you born with that?
I think I was born with it. Probably learned a little bit along the way. I wouldn't say I was always as outgoing, like compared to high school, compared to college, compared to having jobs and stuff like that.
But it sounds like the drive piece you were born with. Like that's just how you're wired. That you've got to keep learning, you've got to keep doing new things.
I used to do stats for basketball and volleyball and run track and things like that. So I'm constantly learning new things. I didn't know anything about volleyball and basketball, but I learned all that. So yeah, I guess it has been I guess I was just born with it.
an addiction to keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in your dream job?
I would hope so. After 4.5 years, I would think so. Yes, I get to come to work. It's never a dreadful moment.
Do you hear the theme?
It's fun. It's exciting, and there's always food, so that's a good motivator.
Agreed. Tacos.
Yep, tacos today.
Like soon.
Yeah.
Now I'm excited. Awesome. Do you have another dream job? Do you have anything?
I used to have a dream job of like wedding planning and event planning, but I think that's really gone to the side because I'm way too busy learning all this stuff, all the HR stuff, all the payroll law stuff, and just managing people and helping
Maybe
people.
that'll be your retirement job here. Hire your replacement and you just plan the shows and stuff.
Oh, but Emily does such a good job.
I'm going to make her quit because we need to head to the Bahamas.
Well, I don't know. She's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it'll take a few years. That's why I said retirement. So, who are you? How long have you been here? And what's your current title? Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good
So I am Zack Edlund. I've been here about 2.5 years now. Originally started by sending you a message on Facebook, seeing if you wanted an app.
I just asked what your title was.
Okay, sorry. And I'm now the Director of Web Development.
That sounds intense. What does that mean you actually do?
It means I have a good understanding of all of our websites, how they work, everything, and then work very closely with marketing to make sure that we're completing strategies to keep hitting the next level of growth.
And how big of a team do you have now?
Right now we have about 20 people. Fluctuates a little bit. And then 6 different websites we're actively working on.
That's intense. What has been, in 2.5 years, your biggest win?
Probably just being able to grow the team and not have it implode.
How big was the team when you started?
Me and Ben. So I guess being able to grow from me joining the team to adding people on and not having done any sort of leadership stuff previously, it's been awesome being able to be mentored by you and others to grow that team to success.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge in the 2.5 years?
Probably keeping up with all of the requests of projects and balancing which ones should get priority, keeping people happy when their projects aren't getting done, and just keeping up because we're driven by marketing and creative people, so there's now 80 people giving us different ideas of what we should do on the websites.
What have you done to beat that challenge, to succeed?
A lot of it comes down to the strategic plans of where we want to grow as an enterprise and figuring out if those projects are going to help us meet those goals initially, and then further you can deep dive into what the profitability of the project would be, what the resources are to complete it, and figure out if we're going to even make money, completing those projects.
Yeah. I think you've entered the point now where you've got, a 20, 30 person team, you're running 6 divisions, 6 websites. You're moved into the corporate, you've got a cool corporate title now. Let's go all the way back because most of these guys that are asking these questions want to start their own small business.
Okay.
Let's go back. What was your biggest win in probably that first 6 months, would you say? Back when we were a little company. Because when you came along, how many did we have? Probably 30 total?
I think it was 20. I think I was the 16th employee or something like that.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Yeah. So I guess my biggest win was I came in, I used to work at the shipping company, and we did a giveaway for the hoodies. It was the lifted hoodie.
The BDS.
The BDS
Yep.
lifted hoodie. And I walked in, I was part-time, and John was shipping out hoodies. He's like, I got 80 hoodies to ship out. So I was just watching him, and he was copying an address from an email, pasting it into stamps, printing the label, going back to the website, putting tracking numbers in. And I was like, oh my, John, you need some help. So Ben helped me figure out the code side of automating that all, so they could just print out 80 labels and automatically update tracking and have all that happen. That was definitely.
And why was that something that stuck out? Because that doesn't sound like a huge thing for all of what you've done since you've been here. Why do you think that one sticks out?
I think it just showed me the impact I could have by automating processes. So John went from taking days to complete work to hours, and just being able to help improve people's workflow is huge to me that time.
And then what happens with that time that you freed up for John?
He started designing wheels.
Yeah. Like it's a big deal, right? When you
Yeah.
can take people out of that monotonous, brain dead work of copying and pasting and turn him into a wheel designer because he's bored, literally. And that's why he designed wheels, because he had some free time. So yeah, I guess pretty big win. What were your challenges in those first 6 months as a little company of 16?
Getting along with the team was huge for me. Parker,
Because you're a programmer.
Parker remembers, I wanted to be with the cool kids, and I was the nerdy kid. So I think, everyone did a good job of accepting me the way I am and just helping me be part of the team.
Yeah.
But
I noticed you said you were the nerdy kid. Are you not that anymore?
I might be. I just don't care.
Nobody tells me anymore. They're not
Yeah.
sure.
No, I think it's just that I've gained the confidence that I don't feel the need to beg for people's approval or attention. I do me. So
Yeah. I think you're confident in your skin and your abilities and who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Part of that is growing up too, right? How old were you when you started?
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 20-year-old kid. So there's a lot that happens from 20 to 25 as far as becoming who you are.
For sure.
When you first met me, I think, what did you say? You hit me up about making us an app,
Yeah.
or just wanted me to share the app that you had made?
No, I had been trying to start my own thing, and I wanted to just create apps to the Apple App Store. So I'd bought a $1,200 MacBook, and I was like, I need to obviously sell $1,200 worth of apps to pay for this computer. So I made a couple apps, just starting out. My first one was a farting app. The App Store said there's too many of those, that they couldn't approve it.
High competition in the farting app arena, I gotta tell you.
So then,
Because of all the value that brings.
yeah. So then I started trying to figure out what would help me get out there, and I know that people love sharing stories about people helping people. So then I started working. I made an app for people in distress that would share your location and video and all that sort of stuff, and got on the news, got good publicity from that. And then that led into an app I made for my sister, which was, there's apps for people that can't talk that will say, could cook a picture and it'll say what the picture means. But they don't have them for texting. So I took that idea into texting, and it was, set up so if she hit the toilet, it would send my mom a text that says, hey, I need to use the bathroom.
Oh, nice.
And that one, again, didn't, end up really making it anywhere. But it got me, it was an outlet for me to, spend that entrepreneur type time of, trying to create my own thing. And, prove that I've got, the hustle and drive to make it happen. So that led into me really hating the job I was in. And just wanting more out of life. And I'd been watching custom offsets, especially through Jared, for probably a year and a half. And was secretly trying to figure out how I could replicate it without knowing anything about it.
That's messed up. I never knew that.
But
this isn't an actual confession.
It just looked very successful, and I wanted to be part of that.
So instead of rip off my idea, you joined us.
Yeah.
I appreciate that about you. That's tough, right? So that's my hard question that I wanted to. This is going to be your toughest question. Most of the people watching are in the same boat. They're either wantrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that are just trying to get going and can't get going. In the whole first year you were here, I know you and I talked a lot about how your dream job was to do your own thing. You were always trying to figure out how you were going to get back out on your own.
Yeah.
You've since stopped focusing on that.
Yeah.
How did you let that go? Because I think a lot of people believe that if you're born to be your own boss or have your own company or be an entrepreneur, you can't possibly work for somebody.
Sure.
But I feel like you and a couple of the other guys and gals have said, you know what, it is possible. How did you do, what caused that, or have you come to that transition, that change?
Sure. I think, when I started...
Or have you not, and all of this is lies, and you're actually still going to rip off my idea?
No. So when I started, I am going to do my own thing. I will tell you that. But it's not going to be a rip-off. It'll, I will start my own thing someday. And I think, you and I both know that. But for me, I started with the mentality of, what can I learn? How can I better myself? And then as I realized, wow, this is just a bunch of good people doing good things in the world, it became less about me and less about how can I help grow the whole, grow everyone. I'm going to grow, everyone else is going to grow. And just, I guess, being part of the bigger picture.
Because you were into saving lives and helping lives with your apps.
Yeah.
And we do that by helping everybody get wheels, which is life-saving.
Well, we do it through the giveaways,
Oh, okay.
So we...
I'm just trying to make a connection and feel really good about myself.
Through, our giveaways, those are...
I think the moral compass of our company lines up, right?
When it comes down to it, you and Ben as owners, care about the people. You care about, you could pull a lot more money out of the business, but you give a ton back under the mentality of having happy employees that are family is going to bring you that much further. And I think that's been, very successful for you guys, for us. But I think that's just the biggest thing is, learning your loyalty lies in the bigger picture, and that I'm 23 years old. I don't need to start something.
Yeah.
I should learn. I should figure out what the world's like.
Yeah, Kirk talks about having a mentor, and it sounds like you're actually looking at this entire company as a mentor for who you want to be when you grow up.
Yeah.
Are you in your dream job?
Absolutely.
You liar. You just said that you're going to leave and start your own thing.
For
that sounds like your dream job.
life right now,
okay,
I'm exactly where I need to be.
You're in your current dream job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know, and I know, Lisa, my fiance, knows too, where my life goals are.
Yeah.
But if you're so stuck on those that you can't enjoy your current life, what's the point? That's a big one too.
It's the journey, right?
So before I worked here, I believed very strongly that you couldn't work somewhere you loved. You just needed to work somewhere where you could make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then this place, I had a couple of jobs growing up that I loved, but I thought that was a high school job. I didn't realize that could be a lifelong job.
Yeah. So basically you're saying it felt like you had to choose money or passion.
Yeah.
And you
Because
were
I
able to
originally,
meld those
I
here.
originally wanted to do graphic design,
Yeah.
which I knew wasn't going to bring me,
Me too.
where I wanted in
on
life.
PowerPoint.
I still make a couple designs for Jared here and there.
So do I.
They don't use
They
them.
don't use them?
No.
No. Send them to Fuller sometimes and he just deletes them. He doesn't say anything mean though. He's like, thanks.
There you go.
So your dream job longer term is to have your own thing. What steps are you going to take to get there someday? Like, can you picture, do you have a vision for the big steps you're going to need to take to go from here to there someday?
I think it boils down to that confidence in what you're doing and having the right partner. So for me, I know that I don't know everything I think I know, and that I need to keep growing that way. So do I know what I'm going to do? No, I don't think anyone knows what they're going to do in 10 years. But I know I want to invent something new. I think you did a good job sharing with me this summer that, there's always the new. Go figure that out.
It sounds like you're willing to just take it as it goes.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you're having fun and making money and you have passion for it, you're just going to keep your eyes wide open for opportunities and let it play out.
Yeah, I guess I'm so happy with where I am here that I wouldn't be upset if this was my life.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities here, the mentorships here, the families here. So I'm not if I had a shitty job right now, I'd absolutely be trying to figure out what that is.
Yep. You got to move.
Yeah.
Yep. You crushed it. You can go eat tacos and drink beer. Who are you? How long have you been here? And what is your current title?
I'm Brandon Spain. I've been here for 6 months now, and my title is Marketing Manager for Custom Offsets.
That's crazy. You've only been here 6 months, by the way.
I know, feels like years.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me
I've
6
aged
years, I'd have
very
been like,
quick.
that seems about right. So you're the what? Marketing?
Marketing Manager for Custom Offsets.
Okay, so what does that mean you actually do?
So that means that day to day I lead the media team, the creatives for Custom Offsets, and then also manage all of the big initiatives we have. So vendor relationships, making sure that we're promoting the right products, that we stay true to our brand. Pretty much anything to do with custom offsets outside of shipping the wheels, I'm involved with.
Okay.
So.
And now come the real questions.
All right.
Do you have a mentor or specific books or people that you follow that help guide you?
Yes. So I am a true believer in Gary Vee. I'm a Gary Vee-aholic.
Same.
Mentors in real life, I grew up with Paul Solomon. He used to be an executive chef. He left doing that to start an ice carving company, which is something that would be really hard to build, but he made it into a 6-figure income.
Really?
Yeah, and so it was all based on referrals, and follow up and follow through is his biggest thing. Is he never left
Not
anyone
locally.
waiting. Locally, yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So if you ever go like downtown college,
I've
you see all
seen
those
him.
carvings.
That's
he
why
does
it all of a sudden
all of
clicked
those,
that
and
could
then
be.
they do it on the news, and he's done international competitions.
Wow.
And his thing wasn't. It's not that you have to be passionate about what you do. Is you just have to be better than the next guy at letting everyone know that's what you do.
Yeah.
And so I found that really dear to my heart. And then I think my second mentor would be when I met you. I reached out to see what you're doing because I followed a lot of the dream job, the custom offsets, and then ended up turning into a job.
So yours is a fun story. How did you get here 6 months ago?
So I was running my own marketing agency, and so I was obviously watching, people that were in the industry that were doing these crazy things, and I saw all the custom offsets videos, the 300,000 subscribers, found out it was a local business, and then so I kind of did a little research, found Shawn Chartier was the owner, and I just reached out on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I've loved what you've been doing, following it. I would love to do a tour, do a vlog. I brought a videographer, and you're like, yeah, no problem, stop out. And you're like, maybe you'll come work for me.
Yeah,
And I was like,
warned
no.
you.
I was like, I got, the entrepreneurial bug. I don't want to have a boss. And then I came in here and actually almost told my videographer to work for you. And then I was like, wait, maybe we'll both come. And then I think that was on like a Wednesday, and we started the next Monday or Tuesday. So
It's still nuts every time I think about it, and every time you and I kind of look back.
It's when they say, it takes one message to change your life. Like, it's just do it. Like it was literally like 3 messages I was here, and a week later I had a dream job. So.
Yep. Very cool. It's a fun story. It's one of my favorite random stories. I think my favorite part is that you and Zack came, like the guy with the video camera and the guy on the camera, that they both started on Monday.
Yeah.
Because we need so much help and we're growing so fast that we can't get enough. How important do you think those mentors are, those Gary V's, to the foundation of a startup?
I think that, to be honest, you have to see that mindset in someone that continually preaches it, because a startup is very hard.
Yep.
You have to see people that actually do it.
Yep.
And so the only time I consider someone as a mentor is someone that's actually done what they're giving you advice on. And people like Gary Vee, you are people that have started it from scratch and built it. And it gives you that hope, and it gives you a blueprint to follow that you always adjust to
As
yourself.
you're talking, I'm like, hope. Like all you're talking about is hope. If you can see that somebody else did it and keep hearing how hard it was for them and what they had to do, and you're like, okay, so there's still hope.
Yeah.
Like all the stuff I'm going through is normal. There's still hope, and now I've got to get to my tactics and get doing again.
Yeah, like when Gary Vee talks about that, he only made $30,000 working for his father. And then when VaynerMedia started up, they were taking phone calls in a closet because they couldn't afford a bigger office.
Yep.
And then when you talk about starting up, you set your salary at like $10 an hour your first year. It makes somebody like me that started out my own company, and I was like, I had one client for $1,500 a month, and I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm broke. And then I realized everyone goes through this.
Yeah.
They talk about it. The guys that make millions or work for $1 million companies, they all went through the same shit.
Yeah.
It just means that I'm following the right path because the blueprint's the same.
So do you have any specific examples where your mentor or Gary Vee or somebody you follow, you implemented that in your business or in this business here? Are there any specific, can you get specific? Because I think a lot of times people hear the high level and they want to know the micro. What is an exact example where they said it, you did it, it worked?
So there's two times that I can name. So one would be when I ran my own marketing agency. I follow Ryan Serhant. He's a big real estate guy. He, $1 million listing or whatever he's the main actor on. He talks about follow up, follow through, and follow back. And then he also has 3 parts to his day, which is his finder, keeper, and doer time that does that. So I
Did
literally
you just say finder, keeper, and doer?
Yep.
That was my dating philosophy.
Yeah. So the philosophy behind that is in the morning you have to be your CEO. You set aside an hour where no one can interrupt you every day for the same time to reach out to new clients, new vendors.
Yep.
And you be the CEO of your company. You don't do things. And then you have your keeper time, which is where you follow up, follow through, you message people, you do your day-to-day frontline stuff. And then your doer, I had that backwards. Your doer is where you day-to-day frontline, you actually have to do shit, put out fires, implement strategies. And then at the end of the day, every day you have to do follow up, follow through, and follow back. Anything that you did that day, you follow up, you make sure that you're top of mind. You follow back on anything that's open issues, and you follow through on what you said you were going to do. And you set your side an hour a day, 3 times a day to do those, and you live by it. In my calendar, it's just giant red blocks, and it's what helped me stay ahead. It helps me juggle like 16 things and not let one be forgot about because it wasn't priority. And so I implement that, and that I think is a huge part of my success when I was an entrepreneur. And then the other part from Gary Vee.
On that one,
Yes.
Don't forget your other one.
Yes.
On that one, what is the barrier for people that are just watching and never make any progress? They watch the Gary V's and the Grant Cardones and the blah, 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 the Andy Fratello or whatever. They watch all those, but they've got a small business and it's not gaining, or they're still stuck in their day job and they can't get their side hustle going. What's the difference in your opinion? In those people and you who was finding success and still finding success?
Patience and perseverance. So you have to be patient. Nothing's immediate.
Yeah.
So everyone that's been in business for 2 years and they're like, it's not happening. I'm not making 6 figures. Well, most people don't make 6 figures in the first 2 years, or they lie about how quickly they grew. And then the other part is you have to continually. Anyone that says I don't have enough time is a fucking liar. Because I still watch a Netflix TV show every now and then, or I'll play a game, or I'll go for a drink for the guys. You just eliminate that. You have to dedicate every moment of free time you have. You got to be okay with sleeping 5 hours. When I ran Volt Media, I had kids, so I literally would go on meetings by 6 a.m., have my kids come home, make them dinner. When they went to bed from 7 to like 11 p.m., I would be working and replying to emails, messaging new people, researching new clients. And I would get up at like 4:35 every day. And it sucked, and I was tired, but that was the only difference between a guy that made it and a guy that didn't, was whoever put in the most amount of work.
Isn't it amazing how everybody says that? So what you just said, Gary Vee says, Grant said, all of them say the same thing. And then people go to do it and they're like, well, I don't want to do that. It's like, we all told you that.
Yeah.
Like I lived that life of 18-hour workdays. It's amazing to me that people don't think that they'll have to do that part. It's amazing to me that they can hear the idea of the follow-up, follow-through, and whatever else you said you did, because everybody picks their different things. I picked different things than you picked, but I stuck to them. And I had the discipline to hammer it home and relentlessly, and I think you said perseverance, you got to stick with it. You got to stick to the plan.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people give up, is because it feels, when you're working that hard, a week feels like a month. And a month feels like a year. You get burnt out very easy, and which is why I'm very blunt that entrepreneurship and success, like running a business or being a CEO or an executive, isn't for everybody, because you have to have that mindset that you could go a year straight of just fucking eating shit and it just be fine, because like you
and
know
you don't
it's
even
coming.
get paid to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like that's the people that give up, are the people that just weren't meant for it. Because if you can't handle that, if you go 6 months working 19-hour days because you're trying to optimize your 24 hours that everyone gets better than someone else, and you're burnt out, then you either pick the wrong industry, you're doing something you hate, or you just don't have something that drives you enough to really be there. Yeah. So
Earlier you said you're in your dream job. Are
Yes.
you in your dream job?
absolutely. I think that's a big part of why when I walked through here, I went from saying, no, I'm an entrepreneur, to I want to do this. Like, how can I be a part of this? Because the way that you built custom offsets is the exact same way, I envisioned a marketing agency. It's the same way that, when you look at VaynerMedia and Gary's office door is always open and he's walking through and he's high-fiving people, asking them how the game was. That's how you were when you walked through. You're like, hey, how was the weekend? How was, and And you were big on Alex about like glass office is cool, but you got to come out here and meet the people. They need to know that you can come visit them at any time. And I was like, that's just fucking awesome. And two, the experience that I'm getting, trying to learn it on your own is cool, but you're going to fall so many times where I could be a part of a company that's already found success and learn from that instead of making the mistakes myself. So,
is this the end dream job? Is this the dream job?
I think for now, I don't think I know where I want to be in 5 years because my life changes so fast and there's so much going on. I know that I will always want something of my own.
Yep.
So I want something that I can say that I did that completely on my own. And
what
so
are you going to do to get from here working for somebody else to that?
I think that, again, this is, a job. There is working hours and there's only so much you can do because I can't expect my team to work the same amount of hours I do.
Yep.
So there'll always be that gap where I can work 16-hour days, but if my team only works 10, I'm going to outpace them and then leave them behind, and then it fucks up the whole atmosphere. So those remaining 3-4 hours every night, I try to think of what it is. And, I still have a couple of Volt Media clients that, just to keep that entrepreneur feeling. But then it gets to real estate, the weekends. When you don't work, there's time to fill that until either that side hustle overtakes the income I make or is taking too much time, or something new happens here that just pulls my attention in completely, and I need to be here 24/7, 365.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've never let go of that side hustle of you're just going to keep clipping along and kind of take things as they come.
Yeah, I'm a maniac. I cannot, if I work less than 16 hours a day, I'm bored.
Yeah.
And when I get bored, I am not a fun person to be around.
Oh, no.
Because it's like,
I'll literally sit there and poke my wife in the ribs and irritate her because I'm bored. I'm actually super annoying if you don't keep me busy enough with something to keep the mind going.
And so that's and I've noticed that I've dropped off clients as I've been here because I've taken on more and there's been more opportunities because there's always opportunities here because we're growing so fast. But it hasn't fully got to a point where I need to be here 16 hours a day, every day, weekends included.
It will soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
You're done.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Good job. So who are you? What do you do here? And how long have you been here?
So my name is Mario. I'm the FI and SD manager. I've been pretty much just overseeing FI, SD, and all that kind of stuff. I started off as a $10 videographer, so I kind of just...
How long have you been here? Just answer my
3
questions.
years.
3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
You're old school.
Yeah. It's been 3 years, but it feels like it's been 1 year, I want to say.
So you're the FI Fitment Industries and SDSDwheel.com manager.
Correct.
What does that mean you actually do for a living?
Yeah, so I guess my biggest things that I do are kind of help the team. I break down barriers that they run into. I help them with campaign outlines, marketing strategies, essentially. And
I love that as a manager, you don't say I boss people, I lead people. You said I help people. That's super cool. So
that's like the biggest
servant
thing.
Leadership. That's very 100%. Cool. How big is that team?
FI right now, I think it's like eight people, and then SD is a new team. We just took that on this past year, so that's about 3 or 4 people if you include like graphic designers and the digital advertising and all that kind of stuff. Yep. So
then you've got graphic design folks, ninjas with website, web
ninjas.
Team and stuff like
technically
that.
It is big.
Ninjas are what we call our web programmers because they do things we don't understand.
Right. That's so true.
It's like magic. Okay, so here are your questions.
Sweet.
So with Mario, with everybody else, we've stayed super high level. But some of the questions people had were much more specific.
Sure. Okay.
And with you being here 3 years, and you started as a videographer that literally had minimal experience at best.
Yeah, like when I started, I didn't even like the programs that we were using. I was like, "What is this? I don't even know how to use this." But I had a basic understanding. I think I was 18 or 19.
Yeah.
So 22 now.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I thought you would be a really good one to get micro.
Sure.
To answer the real specific questions, because you've got the most experience with the micro.
Definitely.
So the questions, the first one for you is, they want to know, how do you come up with metrics to run a business?
Sure.
You saw us in the days when we didn't even have metrics, when I would just come in and want more, and I was all cranky about it, and then you saw us transition to putting up the boards and the metrics, and now you're in charge of coming up with the metrics and running them. So I thought you'd be a good one to answer. How do you now come up with metrics to run a business?
Sure. Well, I would say the first most important metrics are like your leading indicators, the ones that tell you, the ones that are closely related to sales that you can count on and know that you're like headed towards the right direction.
Yeah.
I would say those are the most important. And then second most important, I would say.
So what's an example of the leading indicator? I'm going to make you get like really micro and give a couple key examples, because I think a lot of times These guys are watching the Gary V's and the different people,
Right.
and they're talking up here. And sometimes Gary will get like rummage
True.
sale micro. So I wanted to kind of do that with you. So what would be an example of a leading
So, like-
indicator for sales for Fitment Industries?
Sure. So for sales, the FI watches site visits very closely, and then we watch like average page sessions per, or what is it called? It's how many pages are they on, and how
Yeah.
long are they spending on those pages? So like we watch those three very, very closely, and then to follow
Why
that,
are those important to sales?
pretty much if site visits are there, you genuinely have an idea that sales are going to come. And then, you know, if you have great site visits, but people are bouncing out right away, then those aren't healthy site visits. So
Yep.
you got to keep an eye on the bounce rate. You got to keep an eye on how long are those people on there. Are they going through multiple pages? Are they landing there just for one time for like a blog and then bouncing out? Like that'll tell you if they're valuable or not. So
Yep.
we watch those very closely. And then watch time for YouTube, that pretty much tells us, you know, how many people are we getting out in front of, like, you know, what's our reach looking like. So if watch time is doing well and all those kind of things are on the right path, that's usually telling us that the sales are going to come when they're not coming, and usually they do come. So
Any other high level metrics?
you have your digital advertising, so like your paid site visits and stuff like that too, your conversion rate obviously, and then your ROI, so on those ad sets. So yeah, those are pretty much the main.
How about non-sales metrics?
Non-sales metrics, you got to have fun metrics that the team can get excited for. Is something that I've learned. So like your subscribers, it doesn't really mean anything,
Yeah.
but the team gets super excited when they see 1,000 subscribers of a
Yeah.
video they put out on Wheels and Tires last night. So watch time, your promo tees, like the whole team gets super hyped when they design a t-shirt
Yeah.
and sell 400 shirts in 4 days.
That's a pride metric, right?
It's a pride metric. It doesn't really, like, 400 shirts in 4 days. Well, that is massive, but like, for example, subscribers, like watch time is so much more important than subscribers. Subscribers is just like it's a cool metric to pretty much brag about essentially, but everyone gets excited about it. So yeah, I would say those high level metrics, and then something to get the team excited and going, because not everybody's going to care about the site visits, if that makes sense. They're going to care about the subscribers, the watch time, the views, like the stuff that they're actually invested in.
Yeah, it's closer to home, right? They know they can impact it.
Definitely, exactly.
And then you guys do customer reviews.
Yeah, customer reviews are huge. That's something that we keep a very, very close eye on. We always try to aim for 4.9 or better, and we react like immediately if something's like going wrong, because obviously, you know, with customer service, the first thing I do when I go on like to buy on Amazon or something, I look at the reviews. So if your reviews aren't there, people probably aren't going to buy from you, or if they're bad, you know. So
I see you guys grading your content based on interaction and reaction and comments. And
so like every morning at our daily huddle, we go through each piece of content. We have micro content, we have just the videos itself. So we'll go through and like Gels, he's the leader for Fitment Industries. He'll go through and then talk about like the video that went up previously, and then we'll rate it on how many comments does it have, how many views, and then we'll give it like an overall rating, like A through F right now. Well, we don't really use F. We don't have many Fs, but yeah, like A, B, C based on how it performs. So yeah.
that's a lot of metrics. I think they just wanted you to tell them the two to measure. Why don't you just have the two to measure? Why are you making it so complex?
Because you need those micro metrics, I would say. You can't just have two. If you just had site visits and let's just say watch time, like your watch time could be great, your site visits could be great, but that's not micro enough to know if those are like key metrics, or to know if they're gonna get you to where you need to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You need those other ones that kind of tell you like, all right, yeah, the site visits are great, but they're also staying on here for 4 minutes and it's a 40% bounce rate versus an 80% bounce rate. Your watch time, if it's great, but you're not making videos that sell, well, that doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
So that's why
You're just entertaining, right?
that's why you would need the micro. So
So, social media marketing. What are the good times to post content? What is the best content to post? And where's the best place to post it? Not for FI,
sure.
for any business, because these guys have businesses of all types.
Right.
They just need you to tell them what time should they post, what should they post, and where should they post it.
That's a hard question because everyone is different. But if I had one answer and one answer only, I would say post all of it and post it everywhere. You know, as long as you stay
That's
consistent.
not an answer.
But like, for example, when
They don't have
Fitment
time to
Industries-
post all of it everywhere. You need to tell them which post, which day, at which time, on which platform.
It's so hard to say just because it's like, for example, when FI was a startup, our Facebook blew up like before our YouTube blew up, and we thought YouTube was going to be the one. So we were putting, which eventually it did become the one, but we were putting all this effort and time into YouTube, and then out of nowhere, Facebook just blew up. So it's like we wouldn't have known that if we wouldn't have took that piece of content that we were posting across all platforms. We just wouldn't have known. So like
You basically nailed the answer.
Sure.
There is no answer.
It's yeah.
And when people are asking questions like that, I get more concerned because if you're asking that question, you don't get it.
True.
You're so far off that you've got to get in and do your research. Like
That's
you're
very
not
true.
getting it. So when I saw that question, I was like, I'm definitely going to ask Mario that one. I had one for Alex too that was similar.
Sure.
That it's like you don't have a chance because there is no answer.
Right.
And if somebody thinks there is an answer, they probably shouldn't start their own company, at least yet, because they don't get it yet. They're too
100%.
naive yet. So
100%.
that was a perfect answer that there is no answer.
Yeah, it's all of it, literally.
You can give examples all day, but you're going to watch us bounce all over the place because we chase it.
Yeah, definitely.
The whole life of social media is chasing it.
100%.
The whole life of metrics is chasing it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Are you in your dream job?
Yeah, 100%. I wake up every day, and there's never a day where I don't want to come to work. There's days I don't feel like waking up, of course, but when you're here, 8 hours feels like 4, 12 hours feels like 8, 16 hours feels like 10. Like, I love everything I do. It's just, you're constantly growing, you're constantly doing something new, and it's not like you're doing the same thing every day. There's always stuff that comes up, like whether it be promos or just badass ideas and stuff like that the team wants to do. Like, I don't know, it's definitely 100% a dream job.
What's your next dream job? Are you going to stay here forever? Are you going to do something else? Or?
Well, eventually I do want to own my own business, but obviously being here is like being in school. I always tell my parents that, like, my parents were always like, oh, you should go to college when I was a kid, when I was like 16 to 17 years old. And I just didn't want to do the college thing because it just didn't interest me.
Well, now you can tell them you go to the Enthusiast Enterprise University.
And that's what I've been telling them. Like, we have EEU and all that kind of stuff, but being here is like being in college, except you're actually doing the stuff and you get to learn it, you get to teach it. So I don't know, you just pick it up so much quicker. It's crazy.
College is neat if you need some time to grow up, but if you actually want to learn, get a job like this.
100%. Get out and do it, yeah.
So what are you going to do between now and, I think you already answered it, but what are you going to do between now and running your own business to get there? What is the big steps?
Just continuously, I guess, learning. Like, just learning how to be a better manager, and then eventually a marketing director, and then eventually after that, who knows, you know? But I know that with all the stuff that you guys have here in place and all the teachings and all that, like anything, the opportunities are endless. Like, honestly, it's crazy when you think about it. It's cool, super cool. Yeah, I'll be here for the next probably 8 to 10 years.
Well, I'll be the judge of that. You need to keep performing.
True that.
Thank you, Mario.
Cool.
You crushed it. One of the things that Ben, my business partner in the early days, right away, Ben and I are the founders of Custom Offsets. He said to me, find every single thing you don't want to do and hire somebody to do that can do it better than you. And that's exactly what we've done. And that's why I wanted to bring all of these guys and gals forward to answer your questions, because I feel like I've already answered them. And I'm hoping that if you can hear it from them, you can listen this time and hear what they're saying. The answers don't change. It doesn't matter who's answering the question. It's always the same answers. And hopefully you saw that. And I also kind of wanted to show you that it took an entire army to build what we've built. This is not something that Ben and I could have done on our own. And we owe so much of this to the people that you just saw walk you through the answer to some of those questions. So welcome to not just my dream job, but their dream job.